Hey, everybody. Welcome to the OBT show. I'm Chris.
And I'm your host for the evening, Brandon.
I thought maybe hiding behind the pop filter would work, but
I know.
I can see through it.
I know. You're hiding. I don't know why you're hiding. I'm a little sleepy, so I did a softer entrance. You went high energy. I went, let's just talk. Let's just have a conversation.
Let's do this.
And you're hyped.
I am a hype machine right
It's
now.
also dark in here, which is probably working against me because it makes me sleepy.
I think it's setting the mood.
Well, we are holding hands, and we're both shirtless, so...
Wait, what?
I'm so quick.
Just magically shirt goes
I'm so
off.
quick, yeah.
All right.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Just okay?
Yeah. I saw some movies, so I'm better than usual.
I always try to get to the heart of the matter, the real Chris, and you always deflect back to show topics. And I try every now and then to have a conversation about your emotions.
I like hiding my emotions in my visual prowess.
One of these days, you and I are going to have a deep, thoughtful chat about our emotions on this podcast.
Except not when we have stuff to cover.
But Chris, when will we never not have stuff to cover? You have to make time for this conversation.
Someday.
All right, fine. You saw Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
Why are you terrified?
Because just hear police sirens in the background.
Is there something you need to talk about? Is this late breaking news for the OBT show? Are you going to get arrested?
All of a sudden, I was like, did he just do a sound drop, or is that behind me?
No. You look so paranoid, like they're going to come smashing through the door.
It was doing like the, what's that effect, Doppler? Where the sound was traveling through one ear and then...
Is that Doppler?
I don't know. What's that?
Are you making
Where
shit
sound
up?
is traveling from one side to the other and it sounds different as it moves. Isn't that the Doppler effect?
Loyal OBT listeners, you can email us the answer to this question at the OBT show at gmail.com, or tweet at us at the OBT show, or facebook.com/the OBT show. Plug.
Hey, Brendan.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
I did hear.
There was a certain web slinger movie that came out
They
recently.
made Amazing Spider-Man Dose. That was the #1 movie for 2 weeks, and then Neighbors knocked it down, which you saw. So you contributed to destroying Spider-Man.
That's fine.
Damn you.
It was worthwhile.
What were your thoughts on it? What were your initial thoughts?
On Spider-Man?
On Spider-Man Dose.
It was okay. I mean, as far as compared to the first one, significantly better.
I actually like the first one a little bit better than the second.
No.
Okay.
Mostly because they had less scenes where it was the awkward, hey, I just want to tell you something. But,
Well, yeah, that was good.
Let me just, I couldn't.
Yeah,
The
that
Andrew
part-
Garfield awkwardness
But that was just small. That wasn't overwhelming.
in the first one, yes. There was a whole
right.
5-minute scene of them going back and forth.
Yeah, but that was all right. But that's part of the love story.
Yeah, stupid love.
All right. We'll talk. Keep focus on Spider-Man Dose.
But on Spider-Man Dose, they really, really got the humor better. They got they ramped up what I think was more in line with Peter Parker's personality, not necessarily what they did in the first one. The first one, he was a little too cocky, and this one, it was more about being funny.
Yes, he was back to sort of the one-liners, and they obviously fast-forwarded a bit to him being very comfortable in the Spider-Man persona.
Yes.
So it worked, and it was the Spider-Man of the 60s and 70s. It was very much a comedy level was increased.
Yes, and I appreciated it. The action, much better than the first movie.
Yes.
I feel like they really nailed down the CGI stuff and made it seem more fluid.
The action sequence were cool, and they worked well for Peter Parker and Spider-Man combined in my mind. Peter. Give me Peter. Spider-Man's power set, where they really accentuated all the things that you see him do in the comic books, which I thought was really cool. It wasn't kind of, and I think some films try to force moves onto superheroes just because they're a superhero that they wouldn't do in the comics or haven't been known to do.
I agree.
Okay,
That's
just how I feel.
Yeah,
I just think the power. I felt like I was watching a comic book in motion, as opposed to where I was like, I don't know, Spider-Man doesn't normally do that.
they had a little bit more like links to the Spider Sense.
Yeah,
Where it was just like you could see him actually like getting like bugged out.
which was cool.
They didn't show it as much. They
did
didn't
you
like
see
make
it in 3D or did you see it regular?
3D?
Okay, is it? I did not because I don't like 3D.
They kind of gave him like a bullet time to where he was like dodging stuff, and it didn't really make it like spider sense, other than when he was just like he'd be looking off in the distance, and then the next scene gone, which was cool.
All right,
it made sense for his character, and they had a lot of awesome first person shots. Like
those were cool. It was like you were riding a roller coaster.
Yeah, there's a scene where Electro fries one of his web shooters. So he takes only one of them, puts his thumb in front of it, splits the stream so that it attaches at 2 different points. And it was like all in first person. So it was really, really cool to watch.
That was really cool.
But the story, once again, was just...
I hate the story.
Oh, man.
It's funny because I've had this conversation with non-comic book fans and comic book fans. The non-comic book fans are, for the most part, fine with, and I think I know without talking to you about it, know where you're going with some of the stuff, but they're fine with the way it's presented as Oscorp is this evil corporation, and then all things go through Oscorp, whereas you and I both know that's not the case.
Yes. I think they're taking elements from one of the newer storylines, but not necessarily.
Not really. Yeah.
Not the main storyline, but I mean like for the character development. For like at least for like Electro and
the Electro they're pulling more from the Ultimates universe.
Yeah.
But even the Ultimates universe, there's some distinction between characters. Like Green Goblin looks like a massive giant goblin monster as opposed to in the regular 616 Marvel where he is just a man with a mask on. So, but each villain has had their own, for the most part, storyline, which I feel like you're not going to get. You're just going to get, here's a guy with wings on. We're calling him Vulture.
Well, I mean, if they do it like what they did with Rhino at the end of the movie, which was kind of like, slap it on there. That's what it felt like.
That part was
it was a cool closeout.
It was cool closing, but it was
still
dumb.
Like us.
But they built it to be like that, where they're not giving the storyline background of that character beyond, he's a thug that Spider-Man put in jail and he's really mad at him, would love the opportunity to take him down. And you're like, all right, and then you give him a giant suit which he just somehow knows how to operate.
Yeah. And operate very
efficiently. Well. I think I had the problem too with,
and same thing with Goblin. Like he transforms and then magically he knows how to use everything.
And then he just somehow manages to the only open door is the one that has a friggin' glider on it. That part I started laughing. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I know you want to telegraph that he's going to be the Green Goblin and they do a good job of that, but why are you giving him this degenerative disease that for the most part it's been fine, but as soon as it's mentioned out loud by his dad, then it kicks in all of a sudden and turns his skin green? I was like, no. I don't buy that all of a sudden it's been dormant and then just now, for the story's sake, it starts to become an issue.
I feel like this was Marvel's Zack Snyder moment where Spider-Man 2, very pretty, very superficially, entertaining, but lacks the depth that other awesome comic book movies are doing right now.
And I didn't care about his parents. That part was dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb.
You don't need it. And somebody made a great point too. I was reading an article. They're like, well, if it was so important for him to download all that information, why did he do it before he got on a plane? Because if he kept hitting enter one more time, I was like, just stop. Your computer sucks, because it shouldn't just stop working when you close the laptop down.
Well, no, I mean, like some laptops, if you close them, they go into like a sleep mode. Stupid. Unless you set it to not go into.
I know,
that's just getting technical.
Yeah, no. This is my point. Wouldn't you just set it so it doesn't do that? And why are you waiting until you're up in the air when, I don't know, internet's not that great when you're in the air?
I guess I
didn't like that part.
I felt like they were hardlining into the airplane's communications. That like every single time he was plugging like a LAN cable in or something. So
you're putting too much thought into a part that.
But it makes sense though, like from a technology standpoint.
But my point is, if it's so dangerous, do it when you're on the fucking ground.
Well, that's logical standpoint. It doesn't make much sense.
I kept looking. I was like, why didn't he do this before he got in the plane?
Well, they were in a hurry. Maybe there was stuff that was left out.
He's in a secret lab that's secured. He can't do it then. I don't know. I know I'm being nitpicky, but I just was upset by it.
Yeah. No, I
didn't care.
I'm okay with you being upset by it because I was just like, I watched the movie and I was like, huh.
And then the spider.
And now I'm confused as to whether they were setting up for Spider-Man 3 or Sinister Six, because
I don't know.
They could go either way.
And Electro had some hokey lines. The whole like, it's my birthday now. I'm going to light up my birthday candles. I was like, I looked at that. We're so dangerously close to everybody freeze. Batman and Robin.
I would have been more okay if they gave him a code name, like Codename Electro, instead of him naming himself like, I'm Electro. Like, no.
You don't come up on that on your own.
No. I mean, it plays well with the storyline that Jamie Foxx's character was like a uber nerd,
which I like,
or uber geek. That's cool because he would come up with a dumb, name, but it shouldn't sound like he came up with a dumb name. It should just be like.
And I guess the moral of the story is, if you're down on confidence, fall into a vat of eels, because you'll be so confident. Which I was like, this is a drastic turn. All of a sudden, he's barking out orders, and he's the man. Okay.
He got all the power. He was surging.
And then he flips on a dime on Spider-Man because all of a sudden his face shows up on TV. I was like, just make him be mean. Don't try to give him some psychological standpoint which doesn't make any sense.
Electro.
Time to blow out my birthday candles. Yep. And then
that's as far as I can.
Yeah. And then he just dissipates into the air.
So at the end of the movie, they did have a little tidbit that was showing different symbols that were important for a future movie.
And Gwen Stacy died. Well, hey, they pulled the trigger on that one. That was pretty cool. I didn't think there were.
How did you not think they were going to do it?
Well, I thought because it was...
They had the outfit. They had her set to go.
I know, but I thought that they wouldn't do it because of the fact that it's not a dark version of Spider-Man. It's been projected as very clean and wholesome, and then they did the killing thing, which I thought good for them. I'm
people
okay
die
with it.
in this.
I know,
both
a lot of
movies.
People, I know.
So how could it not?
I just thought they wouldn't go that far.
They foreshadowed it the entire movie. They made her say lines in the beginning when she was doing her speech, like, we're not immortal and blah blah blah. Like,
I know. I'm not arguing that part. I got it. Like I got it. I knew it was coming, but I think I applaud them for doing it because I didn't think that they would actually.
Once you started doing the speech in the beginning of the movie, I was like, yes, they're actually going to kill her off because they're literally setting it up for it.
I still wasn't buying it because of the fact that the marketing point was this relationship between Gwen and Peter, and I thought maybe in their version they'll not kill her. I was surprised. I was happy that they did it because it made sense. It's not as though I didn't get it. I knew. I was like, oh my god!
I know you got it. I'm just surprised that you didn't think that they would do it because they orchestrated the whole thing. They showed you screenshots of right before the movie of her just dangling on a web, hanging on. Like, here we go.
I give them credit. That's all I wanted to say. I give them credit for it. I think it was awesome.
I don't give them credit for anything.
You're a big growly bear.
I have this stupid storyline, and then tried to save it with one of the most heartbreaking moments.
And I don't understand why we have a mysterious man in a hat still roaming around. Mr. Freeze, or Fries, whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah, I don't...
Just why? How is he able to get access to all these things?
Wasn't he originally... That was supposed to be Norman Osborn's character?
Yeah.
But then now it's not.
It's not.
So who is the mystery man?
If I'm really trying to make an educated guess, which is probably dumb in this circumstance to even try because it's not going to work out, it would be interesting if they made him... the Vulture, because in the comic books, Toomes, Jeffrey Toomes, I think is his name, is an older man. So,
he's like all like basically
60,
like
70 years old.
looking.
Yeah, he's a pretty decrepit old man until he puts on the suit, and that gives him the strength. So if they go that route, then I'll be like, okay, this is kind of cool, because Toomes is a little bit of a mastermind.
Yeah, he's smart.
Not super smart, but smart enough. But I don't know if they're going to go that way. But did you know about the scene that they have in the international release?
What? No.
Oh. The American release got a scene from X-Men Days of Future Past, which made no sense when it came on the screen because most people were confused.
Two separate film companies.
Half the crowd was like, oh, are they doing Spider-Man and X-Men? And the other half was like, this is an ad. And I was at that other half, like, this is a dumb ad in the middle of a movie.
Well, I knew that was coming out before it came out.
And, because of contractual issues with the director, that he was beholden to Fox. Sony wanted him for more Spider-Man. The compromise was, well, you're going to do free advertising for us.
Nice.
But the international release has a scene with that mysterious old man that it takes place very short. It takes place back in that secret level with all the super villain outfits, and it's shot from you see the guy's back, and he's looking at something, and he says something along the lines of, I don't remember the exact quote, but something along the lines of, hope, good to be working with you again, boss. And he turns around, and it is the decapitated head of Norman Osborn, cryogenically frozen.
Oh.
So you could make an argument that they will clone him.
No.
And he's Green Goblin.
Stupid.
Because notice they never said that he didn't refer to himself as Green Goblin, right, Harry?
No.
So
maybe he's Hobgoblin.
You never know. I mean, they could retcon it to make him Hobgoblin, and then Norman comes back as the Goblin.
Stupid.
Yeah,
stupid,
I saw that. I was like, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do that. You had a pretty.
I'm glad
solid...
I didn't see the international version.
No, but I'm sure it's going to be on the DVD release. I'm sure it's online.
It's on the interwebs.
It's on the interwebs. But the closing sequence also hinted at Sinister Six, where if you Shazammed, it just was annoying the way to do it. I didn't want to do it. If you Shazammed the final song that plays, you get access to the credits. The footage of the credits without the actual credits on them, and you can see that it breaks down potential members. Sony was very keen on the word potential members of the Sinister Six.
Because it's still not set in stone yet. They just know they're making the movie. But, I mean, if they screw up, like, not having Kraven in it, or I think it was Mysterio?
Or Chameleon. You can make the argument for either one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like there's really good, iconic Spider-Man characters that they could do that they probably need to do to sell this movie of a villain movie.
Well, it's an interesting concept because I don't know. I'd be curious to see what their script looks like because the idea of doing a villains only movie is intriguing to me, but to a kid, if I'm a parent, why would I bring my kid to this? You know what I mean? If there's no element of a hero involved.
Well, that's why it's a spin-off, I think,
But I'm thinking in terms of marketing it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
I think again for us,
it a spin-off though? Because isn't it Sinister Six and then Spider-Man 3?
Who knows?
They continuity really and then Venom after that.
They haven't announced it. I think Andrew Garfield is in for 4 films total, so he's already done 2.
Yeah, because he's probably only going to do
3 and 4. Amazing Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 4.
They've confirmed Amazing Spider-Man 4?
They haven't. But I'm guessing
I thought they were going to put him in the Sinister Six movie. Like towards the end
I think it was. I thought it was a standalone. Well, I don't know. Well, I guess we have to see what happens. I think my point is they have to put him in. If they're going to try and do this on their own, it's not going to be worth. They're not going to make any money. Because it's going to be nerds like us to see it. Yes, Venom, you can sell that because he's an anti-hero if you go that route. He was originally a villain, but if you spin him as the anti-hero that he was in recent years, then you could do anti-Venom, which he is now, the white Venom.
Well, I don't think they're going to do that, but no. I know they're definitely going to do... I mean, the producers talked about it, or the directors talked about it. They were saying that they want to do Venom versus Carnage because of the fact that it's the only way they can sell the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes sense.
And they teased...
Because they need... if you're going to have a villain be your superhero, you have to put him against someone that's worse than he is. And who's worse than Venom but Carnage?
Who's a literal serial killer.
Yes. He's a criminally insane serial killer.
The storyline was Venom and Carnage shared... Well, Cletus Cassidy shared the same cell with Eddie Brock, or the same cell block. And Cletus was about to die because he was murdering people. And then the Venom symbiote jumps off and mutates on to him, which creates Carnage.
Yeah, which is crazy looking and
fun,
full of murders.
What a solid '90s villain who's had a little bit of a resurgence as of late. Some interesting storylines.
So let's give this a rating.
What are we doing? Out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 5 Andrew Garfield web shots to the face. What did you say for Spider-Man 2?
I would give it a 2.5 web shots.
Right to the face.
Right to the face.
Yeah, I'd say the same. It doesn't deserve any more than that.
I love that movie not feeling anything. I don't, and that's not a bad thing or a good thing. I mean, it's not a great thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I normally feel something for a character that I grew up liking. You know, like when I leave a Batman, all the 3 Batman films, I felt something. Like, that was awesome. When I loved this, I was like, all right, well, what else is there to do?
Yeah, I agree.
I felt like I watched a TV movie, so.
No, it was just, it had potential.
Had great potential.
Much better.
But it suffered a little bit from the Spider-Man 3-esque cursive. Too many things going on.
That one scene where he does the thing with the web shooter,
that was the best.
That's a whole point right there.
Yeah.
Because of how awesome that was.
Yeah.
Somebody was sitting in the background going, yes, we did good with this one scene.
One scene. For 5 minutes out of 160, we had him. We had him.
It was less than 5 minutes. I think that part took up maybe like a half a minute. It was still the best part of the movie.
It was the best part.
It was the most Spider-Man-esque moment, minus the web slinging.
Moving on.
We saw a trailer.
We saw a trailer for Gotham, the Fox TV series that was announced as being part of the Monday night schedule, which is wrecking my ability to watch Monday Night Raw, but I'll deal with that in the fall.
TiVo?
I don't have TiVo.
Oh,
I might get it. What did you think? Interesting, right?
Was skeptical prior to watching it, but now I'm on board.
I'm on board. I think this has potential to be, if they can capture the style of Arrow, and I love Arrow,
mm-hmm.
and if they can capture and not go too Smallville with it and prolong it for too long, I think they did the right thing by casting him as a young kid. Because if they really give this. I think that I read an article with the guy, the director, that said that he thinks that well, first he sounded a little arrogant. He said this will be better than the Nolan trilogy, and I was like, I don't know about that. Second, he said he's scripted out the concept through 8 seasons.
I don't like that.
I like it though. I think that shows some thought because you do have to be careful. You can't just arbitrarily. What are you mad about?
I feel like that's a 4-season show, and they have him age progressively throughout time, and they have different focal points for different characters.
That's actually a good concept now that you brought it up.
Yes, because Jim Gordon, granted, awesome.
Yeah.
No, nothing to take back from that. Him young for 7 seasons, and then then we get to teenage Batman.
Well, I think they're going to have to. There's a couple things that they're going to have to explain to me that I have a question about. One is the training, because there is a port in all the Gotham origin and all the Batman origins. Bruce goes away for years,
yes,
and gets trained to be Batman. He doesn't just be Batman.
Oh, I thought he woke up and he was Batman.
And he's Batman. He doesn't even get the concept for Batman until he comes back.
Yeah.
So if they kind of do something silly where he falls down the well and then he starts constructing a bat suit, I'll be like, I don't get what this is, because this doesn't make any sense.
He's a child.
Well, no, I'm saying at the end of this, if we get to a Smallville moment where you don't really see the full-fledged and he just pops out the S.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying they should do time lapses between seasons, like a year or 2 years, stuff like that. So that way he's, Bruce is growing up, but he's still not the focal point of the show. It should be the focal point of everything else that's going on in Gotham. That's what the show should be about. If I wanted a Batman show, I'm not starting when Batman's a kid.
No, well, I think
that's not interesting.
I think it's going to focus heavily on Jim Gordon and Bullock.
Yeah, and that's
what it should.
If they're going to sell it as that, do time lapses because it makes sense.
I don't think they're going to do time lapses from the interview. Because
I know.
The guy was praising the young.
That's why when you said the 8 seasons, scripted out, that to me is just like
because it was Batman 12 or 13. Is that the age frame? Or I thought he was younger than that. 8.
I thought he was like 8 or 9 when.
Because then you're really thinking he's 16, 17. That's going to be annoying because he's still.
I don't want to see that.
No,
I don't want to see that for 2 seasons, maybe 1 season, and then the next season him, not be there because he's away, and the focal point being on shit going really, really bad, and then he comes back, and then, there's so much you can do with that you don't have to show him growing up year by year.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Well, I mean, they won't.
My guess is that this gets 3 seasons. At most, unless it's solid, but I'm gonna estimate, and my prediction will be 3 to 4, like you said. And
I like the casting.
I like the casting. It's got potential, but there's always that hook. I think that's going to be bothering some people. Is okay, that's great, but I've seen enough Riddler before he's Riddler. Let's make him Riddler, because there's only so much time that I think an audience has with characters that have been established and familiar, and not just comics, but in movies.
Well, you got where you go. Ones, though.
What's that?
You've got multiple characters that they're going to be establishing.
Right, but at some point,
Penguin, the guy that they cast for Penguin's perfect.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. But at some point, you're going to want to watch this and be like, okay, I want him to be more Penguin-y and not.
That's why I'm saying if they do lapse in time, it would make sense because you have the initial setup for it, and then you come back and like a year has gone by.
But we're talking. I'm talking if they do it a literal year-to-year transformation of Bruce.
Yeah, you want him to like...
But I agree with you, but I'm saying that I think I'm going to get tired of the series based on what they're doing.
But at least they got good casting.
All right. So what is your out of let's keep our ranking system. 5 Andrew Garfield web shots to the face.
No, it doesn't make sense for Gotham.
Of the trailer. Give me a level of your excitement, 1 to 5.
I'll give you 3.5 Jim Gordon grimaces.
I'm going to give you 4 Harvey Bullock fart faces because he looks always like he's farting.
Gordon's got some of the best grimace faces. He's always like standing, Batman, you need to look at this.
I know.
Grimace.
Sad. Is that what that feels like?
Oh no, my daughter's been shot. Grimace.
Is that what that feels like, Jim? My daughter just got shot. I know, but isn't this weird? I never get to feel pain, and now I'm feeling it through you. Batman, now's not the time. Now's not the time. I need you to start finding the killer.
Since when is Batman an empath?
I've never felt emotions. Batman, just find the Joker. He just shot my daughter. I'm feeling something new for the first time. That'd be great
if they did a Killing Joke.
And he meant the guy who created it, and I'm sorry I forget his name, but dude that created that show said that Joker is the crown jewel of villains, and that there's a slow burn to him.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Not just gonna, which I'm fine with.
Don't throw him in there
because that's gonna make it worse.
Yeah,
because then you're gonna just be like, just be Joker.
Yeah, no, exactly. Let them slow burn that shit for a season or 2. I'm fine with that.
And you also saw Constantine. I did not see the preview.
The trailer for Constantine looks very, very, very respectful to the comics. Mm-hmm. It's got like a little bit of a blend of the comic book adaptation, where he's kind of like the con magician-esque sense, but also at the same time he's got the Exorcist, portion of him, his personality, and it looks like they're going to start the season with him basically like denying his ability. Okay. Like starting in a mental institution. They're gonna have everything. It's gonna have all the angels, all the devils and demons.
That's awesome.
And I don't know, the guy that they got to play him just seems to like talk like as if he's reading straight out of the comic book.
That's cool.
So that, for me, I was like listening to like what he was saying and the way he was acting, and I was like, I've read a couple Constantine comic books. I'm very comfortable with this. Yeah. I really liked the movie version because it was its own thing, but I don't think it was like a faithful adaptation. Right. So this is, I think, giving it the nice 1-2 punch to the face.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm happy that they're doing something right for once. Plus, apparently, it's good enough to where NBC ordered a full season.
Yeah,
because they saw the pilot and they went, "Fuck it."
Yeah, let's do it.
Give us a full season.
Well, and I think if you don't have the success with Grimm, you don't get Constantine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe I'm not going to argue the valid points between both options as a creative endeavor, but I think in terms of marketing and economics, if that's and Once Upon a Time on ABC wasn't successful and those two competing with each other, you don't get anything supernatural like that.
Yeah, I think Constantine's going to be Fridays.
And I
think
that's
the slot that they
gave
Flash
comes out soon too. I think they ordered a full season of Flash.
Got a full season.
Again,
order.
If Arrow's not successful, you don't get any of these DC shows. Real quick, Batman Eternal is a weekly Batman series for the next year. Interesting stuff. It starts out with Gotham in flames and Bruce tied like Jesus to the bat signal and a bat emblem carved in his chest, and someone off panel saying, "This is what you wanted, Bruce." And this is what I'm giving you. I'm giving your city in flames, and you can't do anything about it. And it's a year-long burn of what is going to happen. Yeah. Jim Gordon's arrested. He shoots at an unarmed man, and he shoots a panel on the subway, causing a massive accident, and he's arrested.
Fuck.
He kills 200 people because of that accident.
I hope it has a payoff because that sounds like a nice setup.
It's getting weird. There's a part where there's like nanotechnology inside people in a apartment complex from the water. So someone's flooding the Gotham water with nanotech.
That's fine.
Professor Pig is in it, which is a funny character from Grant Morrison's time.
Yeah, they put him in the most recent version of the animated show.
Yeah, Beware the Batman.
Yeah,
which is because it's a terrifying villain.
Oh yeah, he's really weird.
Yeah, and even in Batman Eternal, he kidnapped children to turn them into Dollatrons because he makes doll figures, puts a mask on your head. It's kind of like Mad Hatter it's Mad Hatter-esque, but more of a serial killer vibe to it because he's actually piecing together people.
Disgusting.
As opposed to Mad Hatter, who just wants to control your mind.
Creepy.
Right. So I would say give it a shot. I'm 5 issues in. It's entertaining, but I pick up my comics once a month, and I think that's the best way to read it because it's dense. It's very much like a procedural. It's not the comic book where you're going to get a lot of action in it. It's a little bit of a slow read, but if you read...
They're doing it for a year.
Right. If you read 5 at a time, you can appreciate it more.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like the comic book strips in Sunday Funnies when they just end at random points. This is kind of like that. And it also brings back the character of Stephanie Brown, the spoiler, which many fans were clamoring for, which is interesting. And also sets up Catwoman, who they did an issue of Batman where it shows the future of Gotham. It sets up Catwoman as the new leader of the underground mob. Of the underground. So she goes from a sort of part-time villain, part-time hero to complete leader of the underworld.
Fuck.
And there's some sort of virus. Intense. Yeah. There's some sort of virus that's killing Gotham. And Batman is teamed up with a new female partner who was revealed earlier on in the Batman's Scott Snyder run as someone who, as a tech person, was able to find out where Batman was and hacked into his system. So Batman brought her in. And she shoots people with electronic gun, which is cool.
So it doesn't kill him.
She shocks them. And then Stephanie Brown, the spoiler, has been kidnapped by Catwoman because apparently she's the only one that knows how to change things. So interesting stuff, kids. Read your comics. That's all I've got.
I think we've given all we can give.
What did you learn today?
I learned that our rating system's pretty fucking awesome.
I learned that I would take 5 web shots to the face from Andrew Garfield any day of the week.
Yeah, it'd have to be a good fucking movie for that to happen.
It'd be a...
Here's to Spider-Man 3.
Chris doesn't care anymore.
I'm Chris.
I think I'm still Brendan. I don't know what happened. Bye.
Shots to the face.
Ew.